what kind of international collaboration projects did you join in your past? And you can mention any of them.
All right. So one particular international collaboration system that I'm currently involved in, and that I've been involved with for quite a while already, is COAST. That is an acronym stands for cooperation, European cooperation in science and technology. And this is a project-based means for supporting European collaboration networks by the European Council. And this is a very interesting initiative that could say is pretty successful, because it works in a way that a smaller group of scientists write a project over a larger scientific field. So about such a field to achieve some breakthrough, something like this. And once they get funding, the project will become open to anyone from any European countries and some joint external members of the COAST organization to join the project freely as they wish. And 2 people from each country can be full members of the so-called management committee that will be finally this group of scientists. There will be a core group which is mostly coming from the ones who actually wrote the project. So the chair is usually one scientist who has been involved in writing the project and so on. And all the budget will in a way depend on the number of countries who joined. So it is in the best of interest for the core team to approve as many countries as many they can. And then in the first year, the approval is even automatic. So there are COAST national coordinators in each country, and then technically you just get an okay from the chair if it's an already running COAST action. But you can join anytime from Europe. So once in my first COAST action, these are generally 4 years projects. I joined at the beginning of the 3rd year, and I was the first member from Hungary. So I even had to manage some paperwork to sign the memorandum of understanding and so on, so that the country officially joins to that particular COAST action. And what is great in this in such a network is that the money is all about collaboration. So networking, everything that belongs to networking is somehow funded. Mobility, they give money for managing, for organizing meetings. These meetings are like some kind of a very focused conference about that particular subject in which or that field that this particular network is organized around. These networks are called COAST actions. To make you see what kind of networks are these. For example, there was one I've been involved with. It was called Chemical Biology with Natural Products, and that's really a broad field. A lot of different actually involved by different research groups. There was another one. Now I'm in one that is about multi-drug resistant cancer and finding new ways to fight multi-drug resistant cancer. So you should imagine things like this. And then there are, let's say, 50, 60 people in the management committee. and there can be many people included as working group members. And then all these people can are being invited, regularly invited to these meetings that we are holding. These are kind of conferences really that are so intense around that subject that it's a very, very active and lively event, not some of those huge conferences that you don't even know where to go and what to do, because there is a smaller group of people. Everyone really is involved because they want to collaborate in this particular thing. And there is also another tool that anyone can get access to. That is the so-called STSM fund, short-term scientific mission. That is basically a quite significant amount of money. That is to support mainly young scientists, but technically anyone who is within the network, to travel and spend some time at the others' groups. So imagine such a conference that everyone is interested in the same thing, everybody wants to collaborate, and then if they have some common ideas, then they can actually send PhD students, postdocs, or they can visit each other simply by actually, oh, I have a good idea, let's just write to the STSM coordinator, I would need this amount of money, and it's pretty much done. So it is a really nice thing for scientists to join such a network. Well, concerning third countries that are out of Europe, as far as I know, only Israel is full external member of the COST. Although some Turkish scientists, usually maybe Turkey, Israel, I don't know of any countries from the Far East that would be member, and I think that's not the case. However, scientists from third countries can be invited to such events, these COST meetings, these be the conferences, kind of meetings that I mentioned. Can be invited as external experts. So if let's say a Taiwanese scientist has a good collaboration with some European groups, then they can manage between each other that if the European group is involved in some of these initiatives, and there is something that is interesting to both of them, then they can actually invite their Taiwanese collaboration partner to such an event, and then then the network is on, and and certainly people will meet and talk and discuss about things they are interested in, and a lot of very nice collaborations started for me in such a way. In fact, any COST meeting I join, I always find some new collaborations, at least one, sometimes two, sometimes three. And this is the downside of it, actually, because one has to be pretty selective after a while, because you can get easily overloaded by the too many collaborations if you not easily manage everything next to each other. Me, I am a chemist, so I have a lot of compounds prepared, so it's a little easy probably that any bioactivity testing, for example, is interesting for me. Then I can send certain smaller sets of compounds to many different places if they have some good models to test our compounds. But I can also send my people to learn new chemistry, and that is another very useful thing.
So you say this fund, this COST is not supporting any research, right?
No, that is the other, we can call it downside, but in a way, it's not for that. So it's for people to meet, to get to know each other, to start collaborating. Usually it's worthy to join such a network if you have your own funding, at least to some extent.
Yes.
But certainly a lot of bigger projects can also grow out of this, because you meet the proper people, you meet the right scientists to join together and then make a to prepare together for such a call for proposals. And that's what we also did. And this is another thing that I also wanted to mention, that I made quite good friends within such cost networkings. And we did put together a larger European proposal for a Marie Curie Sklodowska action ITN. That is an innovative training network that we tried to get. Well, I'm saying tried to get, so it's already encoded in this phrasing that we did not get it, even after I think we tried 4 or 5 times. So that was really not a positive experience in this way.
So did you
we
try the
refined it
same
many
topic?
Times.
Did you?
Yeah. We tried the same topic.
No,
it was always the same, and it well, not really the same, because we refined it a little bit and we reshaped it. So it was cancer, it was compounds, it was let's get new strategies, innovative ways to fight cancer diseases, and so on and so on. It was better and better, always better. We always got a little higher points, but finally we reached some 90% of the total score possible, but still we did not get it. It's it's a tough business indeed. I know that, and I'm not sure that we will still try the same proposal. But anyway, we had a great experience in working together, in shaping the proposal, in putting together ideas. So in a way, one can say it's a waste of time. In a way, it's true. In another way, it's never a waste of time, because you can always use that material for something else. One of the partners who was in it, we had to find out. ITN is about joint PhD supervision. So there is it's some elite PhD program that Europe is funding, and the idea is that there are co-supervisors from different countries. There have to be a lot of complementary expertises between the partners, and then my PhD student goes to your lab for 2 months, 3 months, and then your PhD student comes to mine, and then we will be constantly collaborating, and so on and so on. And then there will be a joint supervision finally, or all together. And we really had to put together good ideas how actually our PhD students will work together with each other's approaches and toolkits and how our topics can actually complement each other. And this is what we did quite well, I think. So, for example, one of my postdocs was about to go to Greece, to one of the partners in this alleged network or sub network, let's say, and we had a really nice project put together. Actually, that visit would have been funded by COST again, but the idea came during shaping this ITN project.
But
so in a way, never is lost. Nothing is lost ever. Yeah.
But you say that the ITN project was not accepted, so you funded from different source.
Yeah, sure.
PhD. Okay. But it helped to realize that cooperation, right?
Exactly.
Kind of
This is it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So would you try to apply in the future, and would you search for some collaborators or ideas from maybe Taiwan?
Well, yeah. As you know, when we spoke much about this, I have pretty close ties to Taiwan, and my answer is certainly yes, absolutely. We have been collaborating with quite several Taiwanese research groups. Maybe I just mention here briefly also that I spent my postdoc in Taiwan, and ever since we have very good connection with the hosting lab and other labs that we used to work together with. Well, we had an ongoing PPP project. It's I'm not sure what the third P stands for, but it's project-based
Partnership
program. Yeah, that's it. Indeed, funded by the Hungarian Academy of Sciences from our side, and from the Ministry of Science and Technology from Taiwan side, and we had this like 3 or 4 times already consecutively. These are 2 years smaller projects, also funding mobility, and for example, this was a great experience to have this as a let's say funding scheme or network to collaborate with Taiwanese groups. It was really nice and very useful to our PhD students who could then get dual degrees